Rita Dave, a brilliant lawyer who has dedicated her life to improving the human rights in her community and throughout the world, has received lots of recognition for her pro bono work involving immigration issues, as well as her nonprofit organization devoted to helping men and women who have been wrongfully convicted.
In the early 90s, I worked on the case of someone very close to me who was accused of a crime that he hadn't committed. And that was my first foray into criminal defense work. And seeing someone who I knew was innocent, not only was charged, falsely accused, but then ultimately wrongfully convicted. That person's principles and strength in standing up for himself sort of got me so entrenched into the case and then into all of the things that could happen afterwards. So he ended up having immigration consequences as well, and then had to leave the country after doing several years in prison. That opened up my eyes to a different level of injustice in the country, which was immigration detention. Not just the fact that you had been accused of a crime or convicted of a crime, or even the fact that you were innocent, but the mere fact that individuals who were legal in America, who had status, were now being incarcerated on top of their original criminal sentences and just put into horrific conditions. So knowing that my person had so much support, I saw that there were people that didn't have it. And as a result, we started to help others that were in similar situations.
How do you decide what clients to represent?
In order to decide what client I would represent, obviously doing it pro bono and then the amount of work that's involved is intensive. And it can literally consume you. So over the years, you learn to be able to say no at some points, even though your heart breaks and you don't want to say no to anybody. But you choose the cases based on the issues and sometimes the possibility of making a difference. Because if you know that, let's say for a wrongful conviction case, in order to decide whose case to take, you have to first read through everything. You get a feel from that person's application, from that person's information, whether or not there's validity, and whether or not there are issues that could allow you to overturn it. And if there are not, oftentimes you can't take it because there's nothing that can be done.
What brings you joy in your work?
It's not always, I guess, glam and glory that they walk out and everybody rejoices and goes to an amazing dinner. Sometimes it's changing their circumstance. Sometimes it's giving them access to more resources. Sometimes it's getting someone out. But it's ultimately changing their current state of whether it's some form of despair or difficulty, and then allowing them, that joy to have some changes that betters their lives.
What advice can you give to motivated, goal-oriented young women striving to achieve success?
I think the key is to, one, try to keep a balance, because sometimes we lose sight of that fact, and that could be detrimental. Take care of your health, because that too can get affected. But I think most importantly, stay focused and have something that grounds you, whether it's your family, so that you always have that strength and that support, because there will be ups, there will be downs, there will be plenty of unhappiness, but that base allows you to stay focused and it allows you to stay strong, and then you don't lose sight of your goals. And even if you did for that moment lose sight, you fall right back on track.